part of your building. That's what I'm saying. That's what you're losing when you stop off.
Yeah, the wall, not the reason.
No. On both walls, it's all set.
When we were talking to John, he told us that there was a way to cut the brick and have them laid there, whether it's just a border and the inside is filled with like CMUs.
It's not 20 feet, guys. It's only 1 feet.
You know, we could do all this outside stuff as well too, but then we'll get this out of the way and then go to this outside, and then it'll be easy to see where we need our fill.
And then you can have them order it to the kiosk.
Center of the middle line. We tried to work so that the middle line.
It's the first day, and of course the weather is terrible, but it doesn't seem to matter at all. The projects are so much farther along than I got here a little bit late, and it's amazing how far along they are. There are 5 projects that couldn't be more different, which is really, really exciting. All of the students have been working incredibly hard. Probably a week ago, they were studios of 16 people, trying to figure out how to get stuff done, how to get to today. And in the last week, they've become these like incredible machines of production, where people know their role, they're getting stuff done, they're figuring out what needs to be done to get the craft workers the information they need to build the projects, and the projects are getting built. And that's why, when you show up here on day one, even though it's raining, it's amazing the amount of production that's going on, both from the students and from the Masons.
It's just like anything. It's always nice to see something come to completion. When you start off with an idea and then turn it into something on paper, that's always good. That's what you're used to seeing in school all the time. But this, you get to see the final product. You get to see the real thing done in the end. And you get to work with the people who are going to take your idea and turn it into reality.
The students who come to NJIT come for a number of different reasons, and they want to learn about architecture. They begin to be anxious about how they will apply their education to the practice of architecture in the field beyond. And so this is an opportunity to apply some of that. One of the great things about this annual event here at NJIT, these are second-year students, but they were here last year when there was the build. They saw it happening. And then for an entire year, they saw the builds that were here until just last week. And now they know that this is their moment.
It's quite amazing. I remember shortly after I graduated, Daniel was born, and I used to bring him and his brother down to this area. I never figured that he was going to be attending NJIT or architecture school, and it all came as a surprise to me because I never really geared him in any particular direction.
Like you said, he never really pushed me towards it, but I guess in a way, yeah, we're both going to the same school, both had the same professor. Although I'm undergraduate, it's still definitely, we're going through the same procedure in some way, so it's cool.
I think they're getting probably 3 really important things. The first is an opportunity to really understand the process going from drawings to actual construction, and really developing kind of a sensibility for what that means, what tolerances are acceptable, when to go to masons with over 3 or 4 decades of experience for advice. And a lot of things they really realize work well in a digital model, work a little bit better in a physical model, and then still there's some problems or challenges that you only really figure out at the field. So I think it's a very valuable experience. I think all the students totally realize it. So I feel very grateful to be a part of this. I think it's a really great program. I wish I had this when I was in school.
It's really magic. It's sort of, I think, an epiphany for them to kind of understand how to validate a design idea. And when they really understand the kind of complexity of executing small moves, of simple moves, I think it really grounds the idea. It really, it sort of puts it in a real world framework. I challenge my students to think about buildings that go up in a month, to kind of challenge the assumptions, the traditional assumptions of construction. And the students have just run with it. Once they've taken the idea as their own, it's just expanded, and I've really just sort of been in the background over the last month, so it's been really a pleasure.
It's awesome. It's a lot of physical labor. We're definitely more used to sitting at our computers, but it's awesome to see our digital model finally come to life and see it out here with the colors like contrasting and like all the mortar and everything actually like real life dimensions. So it's awesome. It's good. They're awesome. They're really cooperative. They're answering any questions we have. They're making sure everything's going smoothly.
I think the process building up to it, being able to work with the masons before, having meetings to going over the kind of drawings and things like that, that was really helpful. And just kind of figuring out how iterations on drawings work, being able to start from something and figure out what's more realistic and building it up to the build day. And now finally being able to be here and have the drawings come to life is really great. It's really great because they're really patient with us. I think a lot of us had a lot of different ideas. We thought that 1/8 of a difference in dimensions would make a huge difference, and they were kind of laughing. They make up for it in mortar joints. We're very concerned with problems we might have in the model or our drawings, and they're really helpful in making up for any errors we might have.
Since this is also a prototype, we're trying to figure out how, because we're prefabbing everything ourselves, we're sort of investigating how this is something that can happen really quickly, and it can it's an application that can really go anywhere in the world. I think it's like really illuminating in the sense that I have no idea how any of this works, and I don't know if a lot of us really have understood before how a lot of this works like on a construction site, but like I definitely have a newfound respect for how all of this is put together. It's really exciting, and I don't know, I almost didn't believe it was going to happen, but I really have faith now.
It's an unbelievable experience. It's so amazing to see something that we created as a studio come to life in real life, and it's amazing. They're all such nice guys and everything like that, so
I still can't believe it.
There's no words to really explain how amazing it is to kind of see something that we've worked on for so long to actually be built in real life. Well, it's really interesting because we kept making models and different iterations of it, and then actually seeing it in real life kind of puts it more into perspective, because in the model it kind of looks like it's this huge grand thing, but to see it only be 8 feet, it kind of makes it feel more enclosed and more personal and more realistic.
It's amazing.
Yeah, dude, that's an amazing feeling.
The poles work.
I love designing something on the computer, seeing it in real scale, like 1-to-1 scale is amazing. You actually see what works, see what doesn't work, construction problems that you're going through.
I feel like it's a lot harder in real life because on the computer everything is so much easier. You can just place things on things. You don't really have to think about mortar or anything.
Every brick is different.
Or gravity even. You don't really have to think about a lot of things.
We're here, it's the beginning of day 2, and the good news is that it's not raining or snowing. The bad news is that it's kind of cold and it's very, very windy, but the great news is that there was incredible progress on day 1, and most of the build seemed almost finished. So it really looks like it's going to get done, and it's incredible.
This year, it has been decided to collaborate also with a 5th-year studio, which I'm running. Unlike previous years where the competition was exclusively to 2nd years, this year the competition part stays with 2nd year, but the collaboration expands now between the Masons and the students to what we're calling an advanced masonry studio. The project that I've given them is a masonry training facility in the Ironbound of Newark, right at the edge of Raymond Boulevard. And that is the project that to some degree the ideas that they are exploring with masonry that are behind me are being taken from.
So yeah, originally we were 2 separate paths, so we were going to be 2 different designs. And when we were all designing and thinking of different concepts to come up with this new system using like parametric modeling, so that it could be this new advanced technique where essentially these 2 systems would interlock with each other and almost cantilever over the different space between the 2 paths. And so we decided to come together and kind of like cheat the system. And it led to a whole new complexity that we weren't ready for. And so we've been working with the Masons nonstop over the past 2 days and over the next weekend to further this whole system of complexity that we weren't ready for, and I don't think the Masons were ready for. So it's really interesting to see how far we've come with this whole design over the past month.
NJIT has given me the technical skills to go out and not just work for an architecture firm, but develop into a little niche or a comfortable spot where I'm able to find myself and I'm able to apply the skills that I've learned here into real-world scenarios. Well, I am doing a thesis now, and it's primarily a research-based thesis. NJIT has all of the faculty necessary to find your little niche and cranny where you feel comfortable working, whether it's an architecture firm, whether it's a masonry contractor, or whether it's prototyping and building models for whatever it is that you deem fit.
I came in this morning and I was absolutely blown away. This is the first time that we have literally taken a huge leap ahead to make forms, to try and do things that nobody has done before. And this year, I see all these examples of not just being a little step ahead of last year, but just leapfrogging what happened before. And I think this is the first time that I've seen that the Masons are really stretched to do their job. The designers are really stretched. And when you look at the results, it's just astonishing. And I think it's a whole new way of thinking about what can be done with masonry and terracotta materials. Things that nobody ever thought of before. Things that are innovative and absolutely captivating.
It's going to seep in. It really is important. It's going to seep into them in some ways that I don't know yet. We've been working all year with digital modeling, very new software, very difficult digital modeling. And now here it is. Everybody goes, wow, how did that happen? So I think that's the moment of realization that's so important with it. It's also interesting that in the computer you can do almost anything. With bricks, it's much more serious. They're the most serious material we've ever had since antiquity. We're still building with brick.
And we are super excited
to be doing our masonry builds for 2016. Today is April 3rd. It's a little earlier in the year. It's also a little colder and windier than it's been in the past, but bring it. I think we have a lot of great stuff going on. So not only are our students really getting a lot out of it and being educated, but how can the Masons actually learn something also? And so this is something that I think in the last few years is something that very much was intended, but I'm not sure happened as wholly as it could. And I think Jim and Mike both knew about that and really asked me to think about how we can give back, how we can actually have an educational component to this for the Masons.
Well, we came down Thursday, formed a meeting, meet the kids. They were all very excited about the project and hoping they got a good foreman. I hope that I felt confident that I would be able to bring their project to fruition, and it was very interesting and informative for both of us at that meeting. And I was very excited to work on this project. It was interesting as a Mason standpoint, this type of brickwork, arches, and very good design characteristics, and I felt very confident we could make them happy. I believe that this is very important for them to understand the actual physical nature of the material we're using, because when we draw something on a picture, the sizes are never the same, and so it might look good that way, but they learned this weekend how things don't actually add up to the math. So the hands-on is critical with this material, and they all learned a lot, and they were very helpful and educated in what they needed to tell us. They had the answers once we had the questions for them.
They really got their hand on how masonry works, and modular, and running on numbers that make it easy for the men as well. So it's been very good. Actually, their laydown plan has been outstanding. Everything about it has worked very nice. Looks like we're going to be done early because of what they have done with their layout plan and how everything has worked out. Pretty much modular, we call it in the masonry field, and it's been very easy and very, very good. I think actually the way they have built this project works out very well in the field, in the future. It's definitely going to be helpful to us as bricklayers, and everything that they've done would work out in the field perfectly in my eye.
Well, this gives the kids, the students, the opportunity hands-on to learn what actually happens in the real world and not just on paper, and they can see the problems that occur with designs and problems that they'll have on the job site. It gives the Masons the opportunity to work directly with the architects rather than the general contractors, who are really not, keen to some of these problems that occur. All they see is a mistake and how to correct it. They need to get with the architect. At least they have a better understanding, communicate together as a team and not directly with the general contractor.
They definitely have pushed the envelope this year. Each team has a different type of design and a different type of concept, but it's the first time that I participated in the masonry competition with them that they've all designed something that was similar, where they've all designed this kiosk effect where they have to walk through a park and they have to just show how it molds into what they're trying to do with their design. As a design concept, with the way that the students all design each individual product, they learn how the masonry works and how they can push the envelope with it. But the main thing that they learn is how to communicate with the actual guys that build the models with them, as well as their studio professors that show them how much they can push the envelope. So it's a unique thing that we're able to participate in every year, where they show how these are our future designers that we're going to deal with in years to come.
So we made it. It's the end of day 2. They're just getting the absolute final finishing touches on the builds, and now the students are going to go back up to the studio, put the finishing touches on the presentations. The builds are going to be power washed, and we're going to be ready for judging.
Winner for Best Presentation 2016 is Team Red. It's a good picture. All right. Winner is Best Presentation, Team Red. Congratulations, guys. Winning team for Best Innovation is Team Red. Again, guys, this comes with a little larger stipend, so now you're probably up to dinner, a lunch, a dinner, and maybe midnight snacks. Winner for Best of Show Master Mason Golden Trowel Award goes to Team Purple. That's hoot and holler.